Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for attending our webinar today for Sage 100 in the Cloud. And we have with us today myself, Annette Manius, with President of Oasis Solutions, and then Tyler Bauer, Director of Cloud Services with Cloud at Work. A little bit of housekeeping before we get started. So everyone's on mute, and we will have a Q&A portion at the end of the presentation. So if you will put your questions in the chat box, we will answer those at the end of the session. If you need if you have technical difficulties and need to get our attention, please raise your hand. There's a little raise hand in the bottom section of the screen. And then we are recording this presentation, and we'll be sending out the presentation with the slide deck later today. So if you want to watch it again, or if you have people in your office that would like to watch it, we will be sending that out to you guys. So on a little bit about Oasis, I know everyone on the call is Oasis customers or are aware of Oasis, but wanted to kind of give you a little information about us. So we celebrated our 30-year anniversary in May. So we've been in business 30 years, and we have been the best places to work. We've been on Fast 50. We've had incredible awards. Many years running. So we built the business on Sage and all the principles there with Sage. And we have about 750 clients in 36 states. We are primarily in Kentucky, Tennessee, Ohio, Indiana, those areas, but we have clients all over the United States that we service. So, and our methodology really is based on people and processes. So we believe that who you buy from in the marketplace today is more important than what you buy. Of course, what you buy is important, but it's the people that support you that really are the biggest piece of that. And we've seen that time again from new customers. On our staff, we have CPAs, MBAs, former CFOs, and why that's important to our customers is that we understand not just software, but we understand processes and accounting, inventory. We understand all that because we've been in your shoes. So I think that's invaluable to our customers and the support that we give. We have about 350 years of combined experience on our staff. So that's a lot of information that we have for our customers. So we're talking today about cloud, and we looked at it and said, what are the 5 reasons people move to the cloud, and why are they doing it now? You know, we've seen this shift, and but it seems like with the pandemic and everything that's going on, it just seems to be more prevalent. So we've come up with about 5 reasons that we hear from people about why they're moving to the cloud. So one of the things is you need to take control of your business. The Sage 100 is a backbone of your business. And if something happened, you know, you all might have experienced server crashes or maybe even cyber attacks. They can be really devastating. And a lot of times those things happen because maybe there isn't good enough security there on a server that's in your office, or maybe we've seen this a lot. People will call and say, wow, my server crashed, but we thought we were getting it back up and we didn't. And that becomes very devastating to a business. So that's one of the things that going to the cloud would eliminate. And I'm sure that everyone's been hearing about all the cyber attacks that have been going on. And I was reading an article the other day, and a lot of small to medium businesses think that cyber attacks are only for larger businesses, but they're not. So we've seen it with some of our customers as well, that have gotten ransomware and that type of thing. And it's very devastating to a business. We had a customer several years ago that had gotten a cyber attack and it generated from an email. Somebody clicked an email and took their whole system down, I think for a couple of weeks, but it cost them $30,000 because they didn't have a good backup. They didn't do all the things internally that they needed to do. Well, after that experience, they, started doing hosting and cloud. So that's try not to scare you, but at the same time, it's a reality. One of the other things too, one of the biggest things that I hear people say is it's easy access. So I want to access my Sage 100 data anywhere from any device. I want to be somewhere. I don't know. I was going to say on the beach, but I don't know why you would do that. But if you did want to be on the beach and access your data, you could. So that's another thing that cloud option would give you. So you're keeping the Sage 100 that you know and love, but you're just making it more accessible and more secure. Also, the other thing that we see is hardware costs being cut down. So a lot of times people will come to us when they are needing a new server, for example, and they'll say, what are my options? Well, moving your Sage 100 to the cloud is a really good option because you don't have to buy a new server. You don't have to worry about those backups. All of that is there. We're not totally eliminating IT, that's for sure, because there's still desktops and things that are there, but that server concern is eliminated. And then employee productivity. So if you have downtime with your server, you're going to have lost productivity. So depending on what business you're in, even if you're in a manufacturing, we've seen that happen before too, where software is tied to their server and server goes down and there's your manufacturing and you're back to doing things on paper. So those are some of the reasons why we see people moving to the cloud now. And then of course, I guess it's kind of implied that with the pandemic that we've been in and people moved to their homes, there's a lot of things that are maybe not as secure with people's home networks accessing your server at the office. So we're still seeing some repercussions with that as people are not coming back to the office. Maybe it's okay for them to work from home. So those are some of the reasons we see people moving to the cloud. And like I said, it's still your Sage 100. It's still the software that you know and love. It's just we're moving it to make it more secure for everyone. So I want to talk just a minute about why Oasis decided to partner with Cloud at Work. So we're going to have Tyler talk in a minute about Cloud at Work and what it is. But like I said, we frequently have customers ask us about cloud and what can they do. They don't want a server anymore and that type of thing. They don't want the expense of it or the worry of it. So several years ago, we teamed up with another hosting provider to bridge that gap for our customers. And that worked well for several years. But then, us and other Sage partners were asking Sage, why don't you do something in the cloud for us and our customers? And they listened. So what they did, instead of them being in that cloud hosting business, they have authorized people, companies to do that cloud for them. One of the options we presented earlier this year, and it's a Sage option, and then we determined, honestly, that it really wasn't as full-featured as we wanted for our customers. So we decided that we would kind of hold that a little bit, and then Sage authorized Cloud at Work, went through the stringent assessments with Sage and all the, whatever it took. I'm sure, Tyler, it took a lot to get them authorized to be Sage certified and be okay for the security and everything for our customers. So we've known Cloud at Work for many years. They've been hosting businesses and applications, and then again, they met that Sage criteria. we vetted them out by talking with other Sage partners that had been using their platform for a lot of years, even before they were certified. So, that was a little comfort level for us and for our customers. We're always trying to figure out what's the best option for our customers. And I think that Cloud at Work, I think we've landed on a really good solution here. We've recently moved a customer to Cloud at Work, and I just want to tell you a little bit about her comments. She sent me an email a couple of weeks ago, and she said, so they internally had some issues that they need to work through, but she said it was worth the wait. She said, this cloud is very slick. So I thought that was a great comment. So she had come from another company that they had an internal server, and she just loves the way that this cloud functions and how great it is. So I thought that was a really good testament for that. So we're going to hear a little bit more about Cloud at Work from Tyler, and feel free to ask questions, put things in the chat, and we will answer the questions at the end of the webinar. But I would like to introduce you to Tyler Bauer from Cloud at Work. And Tyler, take it away.
Thank you so much, Annette. I really appreciate it. And I just have to say, we've been working with Oasis and known Oasis for a long time, and I'm so excited to have the opportunity to talk with all of you, and as well work with such a great team. I mean, as Oasis customers, you have to feel extremely lucky to be working with such smart, driven individuals. I mean, really game changers in the Sage ecosystem. So Cloud at Work, I'm going to explain a little bit about our history and what we're all about, our DNA and our culture. We'll dive in a little bit to the technology and what makes us different and unique from the rest of the options out there. And then as well, get into some Q&A and certainly answer any questions that you may have. Again, just to reiterate, my name's Tyler Bauer. I'm the Director of Cloud for Cloud at Work. And I started the company in 2017. We essentially started the company to essentially solve one main problem. And that was, there was no one really pairing enterprise cloud methodologies with Sage expertise and Sage nuance, and doing that exclusively through the channel. And so Cloud at Work is built as a channel-only organization. We work only with Sage channel partners, and we exist only to deliver the absolute best customer experience for Sage software, period. We don't work with any other software platforms. We're extremely focused on how we can make Sage 100, Sage 300, Sage X3, Sage 500, CRM, HRMS, FAS, all of the product lines that Sage offer, make them as efficient as possible and make them as simple as possible for end users to experience. So when you looked at the market, back in 2018, and I'm sure most of you have similar feelings, if you look around or Google infrastructure as a service or Google cloud services, there are tons and tons and tons of companies who can deliver that service for you. Now from there, there's I call them bits and bytes or ones and zeros, right? Very binary pieces that you can start to segment whether this company is right for you versus this company. But at the end of the day, those organizations, while very focused on security, availability, and redundancy, they don't go the next step, which is the applications. And at the end of the day, users like yourself of the software aren't really experiencing servers. You're experiencing the applications on those servers. So we feel that it's extremely important that as a cloud provider, we understand how those applications should be provisioned. We understand how they should be set up and stood up, and we're able to diagnose and delineate challenges that you may encounter through printing or any type of networking issues, both on the local side and at the cloud side. And really, we create this custom experience that really has showcased very well over the last 3 years. And as Annette mentioned, recently we were awarded as an accredited cloud hosting provider for Sage in North America. So we're extremely excited about that, and it just goes to show that doing things the right way and extremely focusing on that experience really pays off. On the flip side, there's a lot of Sage hosting companies out there, and I'm sure most of you are aware of them. If you Google Sage Cloud, a lot will pop up. there's a big difference between what we're delivering versus what some of those organizations are delivering. Really, when you go to their page and you look at the front of it, it'll say $50 per user per month or $60 per user per month. And at the end of the day, really, cloud is broken down into the old supply and demand curve. Except for supply and demand, you substitute risk and cost. The more risk that you're willing to assume as a business, meaning keep risk inside, the more money or the less money you're going to spend out in the marketplace to solve your problem. The more risk that you're looking to eliminate from your business, the more money you're going to spend out in the marketplace. And we at Cloud at Work try to educate the market and educate our customers so we can create the absolute best cloud experience for them. We are not focused on how do we get our price as low as possible. We are extremely focused on upper right-hand corner technology, how to deliver security, availability, redundancy with what we call a Sage nuance. Now, this can be broken down, and this kind of slide showcases the different types of cloud providers out there. The first segment is really public cloud, and public cloud exists. Sorry, my motion lights were going off. Public cloud exists in two main forms, and that is Microsoft Azure and Amazon, which is AWS. And public cloud is a fantastic platform. Sage has a second offering that utilizes Azure and a provisioning portal, which is fantastic. The challenge with public cloud is that you're introducing layers on top of it because public cloud only goes so far. They're not focused on your virtualization platform. They're not focused on working with your end users. They're not focused on what's the correct way to provision and build. They're focused on keeping servers green or red, right? Mostly green, hopefully. The second layer of services or cloud provider is a managed infrastructure as a service provider. Now, what these types of companies deliver is not only the hardware or the physical aspect of it, but they also introduce the virtualization platform. And they'll manage that virtualization platform, the VMwares, the Hyper-Vs, and so forth. The next is more of an application-specific managed cloud. So they're investing in things like fully managed and 24/7 support. But really, there's still a gray area in between application nuance and really expertise of Sage specifically versus somebody who just does a wide range of applications. And then there's Cloud at Work, where we extremely focus on Sage and all the ISVs that you're using every day to deliver your business process. And we want to create a full stack experience that's simplistic and one vendor that we're able to really deliver an excellent experience for you. This can be easily transferred if we look at the layers. And in this scenario, we're going to look at public cloud. So when you look at public cloud, you have Azure, AWS, like we mentioned. Well, Azure and AWS doesn't just work by itself. It takes a lot of effort and a lot of brain power to work. So you need to introduce a management company, whether that's a managed service company or another organization that's going to help you provision, manage, and deploy those servers. Then you have your publishers. So this could be Sage, this could be Avalara, this could be Scanco, this could be Profix, this could be DocLink, all of the publishers that make up the Sage ecosystem and what make the Sage experience from an application perspective so great. And then you have your partner, Oasis, one of the top partners in the ecosystem and is celebrating their 30th year. So obviously, for sure, know what they're doing. And then you have yourself, the customer. Now, in this scenario, what makes this challenging isn't necessarily the solution on paper. It's the experience that you, the customer, may have. And that all depends on the problem. At any given point in time, we all know that we're going to need help with something, right? There's going to be a challenge, whether a report isn't running correctly, or maybe this document is taking too long to print. If everything worked perfectly, Oasis and Cloud at Work would not be in business, right? We are in the business of making things better for you. Now, as a customer, if you have a question or a problem, you're going to raise your hand. Now, in this top area, depending on who you call first, will determine your customer experience. And as well, depending on who the vendors are, and if they're not completely aligned together, then you'll have a very disconnected experience where items may end up getting lobbed over the fence and put back on your plate to then consolidate and bring all of your vendors together. Cloud at Work exists to simplify that entire process. We exist to simply consolidate the cloud platform, consolidate the management company, and along with your business partner, consolidate all of the publishers and bring them together where we understand them from an infrastructure perspective, and obviously your business partner understands them from a business process perspective. And together, we deliver a one-call experience where we're able to simplify and streamline and shorten ticket times and really deliver an absolute, I'm sorry to use the word experience, but to deliver a really great experience for you as your end user, as your end users move to the cloud. As far as Cloud at Work itself, from a technology perspective, this slide kind of showcases what I like to call our nuance or our IP, right? What makes us extremely unique compared to other cloud providers. This is really what solidifies us as an enterprise cloud organization. So a lot of cloud companies that you see in the marketplace today might say we're giving you your own server or private cloud, or maybe some say multi-tenant or hybrid. With Cloud at Work, we are 100% virtual private. And the way that we define virtual private is that we're giving you not only your own servers, but we're giving you your own firewall, and we're putting you on your own network. You are completely isolated from every other customer in our data center, and that's the big difference. There's no common thread between one customer and the next. So when we talk about things like cybersecurity, when we talk about things like ransomware, if one customer clicks on that link in the email that they shouldn't have, you can be rest assured that that is not going to impact you as another customer. It will be completely contained and isolated to that customer who clicked on that link. Now I'm going to talk about in a little bit how we remedy that customer if that happens to be somebody who clicked on a link they shouldn't have. Secondly, we guarantee 99.99% uptime. And that's because of our architecture and the way we choose to deploy and not cut corners. Now, what that equates to is about 52 minutes of unscheduled downtime per year. And for the last 3 years, we've trended at 6 nines, which is at the bottom. So sub 32 seconds per year. Now, we guarantee 4 nines, but we execute at 6 nines. And that's a trend that you'll see continue. We always overachieve and really drive ourselves to do the right thing and solve for redundancy, availability, and security. Now, all of our data centers where your data will be housed are in Tier 4 data centers, which is the highest classification available to the public. And here are our 2 main data centers. The first one is in Collegeville, Pennsylvania, just outside of Philadelphia. And this facility was built by GlaxoSmithKline, the very large pharma company. And we were customer number 1 in this facility. When I tell you that this facility is extremely impressive, it is. If you've ever seen James Bond movies and eye scanners and fingerprint scanners, you'll feel like a secret agent when you walk in the door. And Dallas is just as impressive. Both of them, again, at the same tier level. Now, why they're considered Tier 4 is quite simply because they're on 2 separate power grids. So most data centers have multiple feeds coming in for power. These data centers reside on 2 separate grids. Now, I don't want to mislead you. We don't own these facilities. Cloud at Work is in the business of delivering technology services and solutions, not maintaining brick and mortar. So we do use a company called Flexential for the physical buildings. But all of the technology in the data center, all of the servers, the switches, the SANs, the millions and millions and millions of dollars of technology we own and we fully manage ourselves. Also, everything that you're going to subscribe to, or hopefully subscribe to, is 24/7/365, completely delivered from my team. So we're not outsourcing this to other organizations. We're not delivering this out to overseas. Everything is done internally by my team. The biggest piece that I hear about prior cloud experiences when customers are using other cloud solutions is they have this notion in their mind that if they have a customization, or if they're using a certain third party, or if their data size is too big, or if they are using all these different components, that they're not going to be able to go to cloud. And that's just not the case. At Cloud at Work, we're not going to put up any red tape for you. the way that you do business, or I should say the way you want to do business now and in the future, we can make happen and we can make a reality. Essentially what you're doing is you're tapping into multi-million-dollar infrastructure without having to maintain it, without having to juggle where technology is going, and just pay a simple monthly fee to have an entire team manage your entire cloud deployment. And we'll build it custom to your business based on what your process is and where you want to go. Now, part of that is we have a consistent process here at Cloud at Work. And there's some things that we do say are kind of the line in the sand for us. One of those is around redundancy and security. We do not allow customers who are in our facility to not subscribe to our backup solution. Now, our backup solution is very, very robust when compared to the marketplace, and I would say even goes above and beyond most enterprise cloud providers. So as a customer of Cloud at Work, you'll have production data on SSD, the fastest available disk available for you. You'll then get hourly snapshots from us for 48 hours. So basically a picture of your environment to the hour, every hour for 48 hours. And we'll store that on a completely separate network. And I'll explain why that's important in a minute. We'll then take daily backups and we'll store those for 30 days in a completely separate data center on a separate network. Now, as a Cloud at Work customer, at the bare minimum, you have data in 3 separate locations. So when we talked about that example before where that employee clicked on a link that they shouldn't have, and yes, it's isolated to just that company, so other companies don't have to worry about that. But how do we help that company? This is how. Because in order to put you as a business in a vulnerable position from a ransomware perspective, that threat would have to impact 3 separate networks at the exact same time. Not impossible, but extremely, extremely unlikely. So if you end up clicking on a link that you shouldn't have, we can spin you back to the hour. We can take you back 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, and restore your system within minutes, and you're off and running. No more paying ransoms, no more scrambling, trying to figure out if you have a backup that works. We're able to deploy this and deliver this, and we do it every day for customers. Along with having the geodiverse data centers and the integrated cloud and Sage customer experience, as I mentioned, no application limitations. We also are able to layer on disaster recovery for you. So a true enterprise DR solution. Now, this is optional for you. It's not mandatory, but within that solution, you're going to get a guaranteed 4-hour recovery time objective and a 1-hour recovery point objective. And your data and information will live in 2 tier 4 data centers at the exact same time. And basically, as you make changes in one data center, the other one will change along with it. And we can just cut you over. We do DR testing, and we actually write you your own disaster recovery plan that you can provide to auditors if that's something that you're currently working on. And all of the licensing that you would need from a Microsoft SQL perspective, Excel, Office, dual factor authentication, we can provide all of that for you. Now, we've been in business for just about 3 years. We're about to celebrate our 3-year anniversary, which I'm very proud of. And in those 3 years, we've grown tremendously. Here's just a small snippet of some of our customers that we're working with. Right now, we're at about 350 customers. For each one of the customers, big and small, I see these logos and all of them come with it a story. That story I remember because I look at my customers like family, and you'll feel that with my support team and my operations team. We go above and beyond. One story that I can share with you is NVE Pharmaceuticals. So NVE Pharmaceuticals had a security problem, which they were on premise. They were on a server locally, and they were looking at moving to Cloud at Work. At the time, they were impacted by ransomware and a security threat, and they needed us to get them to the cloud quickly. Now, again, you don't get to pick when these things happen, but this happened to be in between Christmas and New Year's when everybody's kind of winding down. And this particular event actually happened on New Year's Eve. My team put down the champagne, and we spent the entire weekend restoring that client so when they got back the following Tuesday into work, that they were up and running efficiently into our cloud. And that's just part of the culture of who we are. We put the customer first, we go the extra mile, and we truly look at ourselves as an extension of your business and as well Oasis's business. Now, a lot of you may be looking at going to the cloud maybe soon, maybe looking at it for 2022, and I know we're getting into budget season. One thing that we're doing for customers right now is Cloud at Work is taking budgeting season out of the equation. So if you're looking to move to the cloud in 2022, or even now, if you're looking in the next couple months, if you contract with Cloud at Work before the end of September, we won't make you make a payment until January of 2022. So really trying to eliminate all the hurdles and burdens for you as a customer if you're looking to take advantage of the cloud. Now, the other piece that I will mention to you as well is if any of you are following us on social media, we did launch what we're calling our incentive plan, or our incentive dollars for customers. Partner Development Fund is what it's called. Now, what that means for you is if you contract with Cloud at Work for a 24 or 36-month agreement, we'll actually give you 2 times the monthly value for a 24-month and 3 times the value for a 36-month. And we'll give you a check for that amount. If it's $1,000 a month, we'll give you a check for $2,000 on top of no cost until 2022. And the only caveat to that is you have to spend those dollars with Oasis. So you can spend that on an upgrade. You could spend that on new software. You could spend that on support. Whatever you feel is going to help your business before year end, we're going to invest in that and make it easier for you to engage with Sage and to engage with Oasis. So just in recap, Cloud at Work, we're managed and delivered by the accredited Sage hosting partner in North America. And that's recognized not just by us, but by our 35 partners and as well by Sage. We are extremely focused and solely focused on Sage solutions and how to deliver those extremely well in the cloud. Not only are we focused on Sage, but we bring with it that enterprise level cloud technology approach that I just talked about. We're trying to make it as simple as possible for you and allow you to focus on your business and moving the needle for your business process and give you that peace of mind. And we're taking it beyond Sage application hosting. We want you to lean on us as an expert in cloud technology, and we can certainly solve all of the hurdles that you'll be faced with now and for the future. I want to thank you very much for your time. And if you have any questions, now would be the time to enter those in.
Thanks, Tyler. I think Falana is monitoring the questions. So Falana, let us know when there's some things in the chat.
Didn't get unmuted for a second there. Sorry about that. Yes, I just dropped in the chat box too. You can drop it in the chat or you can put your questions in the Q&A. I do have one right now though, which is how do users connect for Sage?
Sure, I can help answer that. So users connect through RDS published app. We do allow for users to connect through like a desktop version of that, where they can have like their own virtual desktop. But I would say 90% of our customers are connecting through published application. And what's so great about that is it actually puts an icon right on your desktop that looks just like it would locally with the Sage 100 icon. You click on it, you authenticate in, and Sage 100 will launch just like a regular application on your native desktop. So it makes it super easy for users. You can use 2 screens and interact with Sage just as you always would. Great question.
Still can't get myself unmuted there. Thank you. Just got another one. If we buy by August the 31st week, can we get September, October, November, and December free?
Yes, you can.
That was easy.
Yep.
Okay. Then what are some main differences between this hosting platform and others available?
Great question. Yeah. I mean, I'm certain I can certainly give some high levels, but everyone kind of focuses in their own patch. But at a high level, we're the only cloud organization focused on Sage who's bringing with it enterprise cloud technology. Most of the other organizations are doing sharing of your Active Directory or sharing of your firewall or sharing of your RDS platform. Those, while they'll work, they just position yourself at more risk. But it's like I talked about in the beginning, the more risk that you're willing to assume as a business, the less money you'll spend. So there's a cloud for each business based on what they feel is important. But that would be the biggest difference, is we take that enterprise approach with that Sage expertise compared to everyone else that I've seen.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Oh, okay. What about customizations or third parties? Are they allowed?
Yeah, so customizations, third parties, even full production environments, we're able to deliver on all of those for you. Yep.
Oh, here's one in the Q&A box. It sounds like service outages are very rare, but when they do happen, on average, how long do they last?
Sure. Yeah, I wish there was a way to deliver 100% to customers, but unfortunately, there are just some things that are out of our hands. Now we take extreme caution and focus on that redundancy, but we did have the reason why I can't say we're 100% is because we use 9 different internet providers at our data center, and all the way out in Missouri, Verizon fiber was cut, severed. So when that happens, you need to cut over to a secondary internet provider, and there's a blip. So it's usually the only technical outage that we've had was people got logged off and they could log right back on, and that happened one time. If there was a catastrophic event, in the event of the data center went hard down for whatever reason, a storm or power failure, both grids, what have you, that's where disaster recovery comes in, where we're able to guarantee that you will never be down for more than 4 hours. So if you subscribe to that disaster recovery plan, we guarantee in any scenario, 4 hours is the absolute maximum that you'll ever be down. If you don't subscribe to that, it is best effort. But I can tell you, I've been doing this for 13 years, and I've never had to enact a disaster recovery strategy for a customer. Great question.
Okay. Yeah, and here's another one that just popped up. Is there a demo available?
Yeah, we have not only a demo that we can show you of Sage 100 and logging in and what it looks like, but if you're really interested, and we can actually get you a login that you can play with at your own site, because a lot of customers have asked, they're like, yeah, we get it, you're showing us a demo on your computer. You know, for some reason they think I use like a supercomputer or something like that, but we can get your own login to showcase that at your site on your internet as well.
Thank you. And I think that's everything, unless anybody has any last minute questions.
I just want to say thank you to Annette and yourself, Alana. Thank you so much for putting this on, and everyone, thank you for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Tyler. We appreciate it. Thanks everyone for attending, and let us know if you have any questions or if you'd like to see a demonstration of Sage 100 in the cloud. Thank you. See you next time.
Yes, I just wanted to remind everyone that a survey will pop up in just a minute when you close out of Zoom. And if you would just take a second and give us some feedback about today's webinar. Thank you.
Thank you.